Ahoy, me hearties, gather round, come closer, everyone, for I've got a story to share that will lift your spirits higher than the tallest mast of the grandest ship. Yes, we may be pirates, but we're more than just plunderers of the seas. We're a band of misfits, a crew of brave adventurers, united by a common longing for freedom and excitement. Welcome, one and all, to the Shape the Future Challenge, the final pitching ceremony. Now, when we look around this ship, what do you see? A ragtag bunch of souls from every corner of the seven seas. We come from different backgrounds, speak different languages, but here we're a family forged by loyalty and shared experience. There's 1,500 scallywag participants who've been taking part with the Moonshot Pirates this year from 92 different countries. 260 crews signed up, and 106 ideas have been submitted for voting. Now, we've had so many brilliant mentors. We've had over 400 mentoring sessions with 58 rascally mentors from everywhere from Los Angeles to Brisbane. Now, each one of our Moonshot Pirate crews has survived for a 4 week program and 1 week of quite tough online voting, and 106 teams have made it through. But today, we've got the best seven. The best seven teams are right here, and only one of those teams can win the treasure, the ultimate trip to Silicon Valley. Now, this isn't any ordinary trip. This is a 1 week Silicon Valley trip, visiting some of the best startups, the most fantastic established companies in the whole of San Francisco. You're going to be meeting with Facebook, Apple, all the big players, and the new players too. You're going to experience the way of life and work in Silicon Valley. You're going to take a tour around Stanford University. You're going to meet at the Singularity University. You're going to have workshops on exponential technologies, pitching, pretty much everything. And you know what? It's a whole ton of fun. And it's all powered by the Silicon Valley Inspiration Tours and Expo One. It truly is a star prize. So, this Shape of the Future Challenge final pitching ceremony, what's it all about? Well, I think that the best thing to do is to welcome aboard crewmate Marco. Marco, I know that you've been working so hard behind the scenes. Can you tell us a little bit about the why behind the Moonshot Pirates? Why is this so important to you?
Well, hi and welcome everyone. Thank you, Adam. Uh, well, the why is kind of obvious in my opinion. There's two things that we really want to do with Moonshot Pirates. One thing is simply when you look at education today and how the world is developing, I believe there's a huge gap between between what's being taught in school and what we need for the future. And the second thing is also the potential of young people today is incredible. And there's no structures that actually help them to unlock that potential. So it's all around the young people. And I believe that this is a big why for us, where we really want to help them, to guide them, to develop the skills and to become the change makers and entrepreneurs that we need for our future. And that leads me to the second why behind Moonshot Pirates, which is, well, basically look around. Sometimes it feels like our world is on fire. And there's a lot of things that need to be fixed, a lot of things where we need to build solutions. I mean, climate change just being one of them, probably the biggest one right now. So we want young people to develop the skills, to gain the knowledge, um, to get comfortable with becoming entrepreneurs, to take responsibility and really build solutions. I mean, this program now, the Shape the Future Challenge, is a program where they do their first steps. It's you ideate, you get creative, you develop some crazy ideas, some moonshots. But with Moonshot Pirates, we want to go way, way further. And I believe Sean is going to share a little bit about our future programs later on. We really want young people to take the responsibility and build solutions. Some time ago now, we said that we want to build the world's largest accelerator program for youth-driven impact initiatives in this world. And yeah, this is when I'm thinking about our whys. So on one hand, the young people, on the other hand, the world that needs young people that take responsibility. And let me also add one more thing at this stage. Big thank you to all the partners that have allowed us to build our programs, to run our programs. A big thank you to all the mentors, everybody who is behind the scenes working with young people. All of them are doing it pro bono. And also big thank you to the jury today who agreed on being here and supporting young people. So everybody, so Moonshot Pirate is driven by minds who really care, and I'm really happy to be part of this journey.
Wonderful. And Marco, before you disappear onto the high seas, I have to ask you, you've been watching this process from start to finish. On a personal level, what's been the wow moment for you? What's been that moment that's really sort of surprised you or impressed you with how everybody's been working over the past little while?
Well, the thing is with Moonshot Pirates, I feel like it's a series of wows. So it's like every day there's a new wow. And again, well, there's two things that immediately come to my mind. One is kind of funny. AI right now is a huge thing. At looking at the projects this time, somehow everybody just wanted to put the label AI on their project. So this is kind of like a funny wow. The other thing is simply working with these young people, and I've been part now of the pitch training. Like every session is a wow. The brilliance of these young people, the brilliance of our pirates, and many other young people out there, and that's the great thing. Is just wow. It's wow. And just I'm just happy to provide young people with this platform and help them to get out there and do stuff. So just comparing it to where I've been in that age, I don't even want to mention what I've done. Yeah, it's a big wow for me, and yeah, it gives me a lot of hope for the future.
Well, thank you, Marco. And definitely the wow starts now because we're going to hear a brilliant keynote from Pascal Finette. Pascal is a seasoned strategic advisor with nearly 3 decades of experience in the technology sector. He's founded multiple tech startups and established a consulting firm to aid entrepreneurs. And he's held leadership roles at places like Google, eBay, and Mozilla, and served as a faculty chair for entrepreneurship at Singularity University. In fact, there's nothing this guy hasn't done. So Pascal will share with us his Shape the Future keynote to inspire us all today. So everybody, please welcome Pascal. Pascal, the stage is yours.
Adam, you're too kind. Also, I love the fact how you very nonchalantly explain to everybody that I'm actually really old. That's the whole point. Now, that being said, let's get into it. Let me quickly share my screen here and let's talk about the future. And here's the reason why we want to talk about the future. This goes back to a gentleman called Charles E. Kettering. He used to run innovation at the American car manufacturer General Motors in the year 1920 to 1940, so 100 years ago. And he said, I'm interested in the future because truly he expects to spend the rest of his life in the future. And I think that might be a universal truth for all of us. So we really have to spend more time thinking and exploring the future. And of course, when it comes to the future, here's the challenge we're facing today. The challenge we face today is that we try to attempt new world problems, these gnarly problems we're facing. Climate change, radicalization, whatever you want to take. Maybe you want to add, as Marco so nicely pointed out, AI and the looming, dooming emergence of intelligence AI to that problem space as well. We solve and try to solve these with old world thinking. So it does require us to think differently about the world. Now, when it comes thinking differently about the world, a way I like to think about the world, a way I like to point a fatal flaw out is this. If you are ever in the wonderful position to drive a very fast car around a racetrack, and you're taking a safety training, which I highly recommend doing because otherwise you will die. In the safety training, they teach you something very, very obscure, which is once you're getting off track, your car loses control. You see the tree coming at you. And the amygdala, the oldest part of your brain, the fight or flight part of your brain, screams at you and says, do not hit the tree. If you look at the tree, you will hit the tree every single time. It's a weird thing. It's what you have to learn. And that's really hard to do. But I think it requires us in the future to do even more of it, is to look at the thing you can't see, to look at the gap. And of course, our Moonshot Pirates, you are doing this. You're looking at the gap, the thing most people cannot see. Because here's the thing, the future in many, many ways is unwritten. That's the beauty of the future. We create the future every single day. Every single one of us has an invitation to create the future. And if we don't, the future will happen to us, which I think is probably the worst thing which can happen to us at all. Now, when it comes to the future, on one hand, the future is unwritten, but there is a paradoxical view of the future because in many ways, the future has already happened and all we are doing is we are catching up to it. So if you look very closely, you can typically see the future. And the reason for that, of course, is because technology moves on exponentially accelerating curves. I don't need to tell you this anymore, but I do want to point something out. If you are given any technology, stand where this gentleman stands here, and you look to the past, you realize that the past is your only point of reference, the only thing you know. What many of us do is we take the past and we extrapolate from the past into the future. So what looks flat and linear stays flat and linear. If you have the ability to see the future differently, if you understand that we need to do moonshots to see the future differently, you realize that the future is very, very different than today. This year, of course, the little stick figure is my dear friend Ernest Hemingway. Well, he's not actually my friend, but this is Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway wrote a book called The Sun Also Rises. It was his first book, and many say it's his best book. In this book is a quote. We like to call this quote the Hemingway law of motion. And it's a beautiful way to remind ourselves how the future happens to us. The shortest version of that quote is this: gradually and then suddenly, because that's exactly how the world happens to us. Nothing happens. AI, 50 years of development, really nothing has happened. Last year, ChatGPT comes along, the world changed. And there's a reason why we are making this mistake. And that reason is literally in our brains. Because when you look at your brain, you realize that there is a part of your brain called the hippocampus. The hippocampus is a very human part of the brain. Very few other animals have this part of the brain. And the hippocampus is responsible for memory. It's the part of the brain which makes you remember things. Ironically, it is also the part which is responsible for imagination. So no wonder that the world we tend to imagine is based on our past experiences. To overcome this, we actually have to, remember, look at the gap. We need to force ourselves out of this little hippocampus challenge and move somewhere else. So how do you do this? Very simple. You start asking questions. And you want to ask better questions because we truly live in the world our questions create. And I want to give you the most important question I think you can ask as a futurist. I learned this question from a gentleman called Guy Kawasaki. Guy was the first evangelist at Apple, an incredible, incredible future forward looker. And when I asked him, Guy, explain to me how you do this. What makes your craft so much better than anybody else's? He pointed something important out to me. He said the challenge is that when we see the future, when we see these early glimpses of the future, what the futurist Amy Webb once called the weak signals, when we see those, they feel weird. They feel different. They don't fit into our pattern, so we reject them. As the futurist and science fiction author Jeff Vandermeer once pointed out, a circle looks at a square and sees a badly made circle. This is us. We need to train ourselves to not ignore these little weird things, these indicators of the future. And I'm pretty sure today we're going to hear a whole bunch of those. So how do you do this? Very simple. The next time you see something which is out of the ordinary, something which is weird, something which is different, you ask yourself this question. Isn't that interesting? It is the most powerful question I know, and it comes straight from Guy Kawasaki. To stay in the moment a little longer, to force yourself to think a little harder about what the future is and could be, and not just stick with what is today, but what could the future be? So my invitation for you is, as you're going through life, ask yourself this question. If you ask that question once a day for a year, you've got 365 new insights you didn't have before, insights your friends, your competition didn't have. But make no mistake, with all of this stuff, it's really important to acknowledge the fact that there are no maps. And I'm staying here in Adam's theme of the pirate ships. The thing is, everybody presents you maps. Of course, I just presented you some maps here. But here's the challenge. When you zoom in on the maps, you realize that every map is full of dragons. So you want to be careful. Take any piece of advice you receive and make it your own. Never, ever just assume that it is the map. There is no map for you. You chart your own course. Now, let me end here with a very quick summarization of how do you actually do this. You do it by getting your stuff done. And the only way I know how to do this best is very simply by doing things and doing them fast and rapidly and trying things out. Because here's the reality. If you start a company, if you start a project, if you do something new, your chance of success is somewhat limited. We know that, if you look at 100 startups, 98 of them will fail. Say, for example, you were to roll a dice and you win if you get the 6. If you get into a mode which allows you to not roll the dice once, but you roll the dice 2 times or 10 times or 20 times, you realize that your whole world will change because statistically, your chance of success goes up. So the question you truly want to ask yourself is this. As you're preparing yourself, as you're trying things out, always ask yourself, is this truly the quickest and cheapest way to test your assumption? Because every company is built on assumptions and you need to validate those. But you want to validate them as fast and as easy and as quickly as you possibly can. And let me leave you with a last quote before I turn the microphone back to Adam. This is Alan Turing. Alan Turing is the godfather of AI, the godfather of computing. And he pointed out back in the day, literally 70 years ago, we can only see a short distance ahead. Remember, the future is unwritten. There's very little you can see about the future, but we can see plenty there that needs to be done. So my invitation for you is, don't get stuck in the trying to predict what the world will look like in 40 years. Look at what the world looks like today. Look at what the world will look like in 5 years. Figure out what do we actually need to do and then build your moonshot to solve those issues. Now, with that being said, Adam, back to the pirate mothership.
Thank you so much, Pascal, for that inspiring kickoff to today's proceedings. And it's wonderful that you mentioned about not thinking 40 years into the future, but thinking immediately. And I think right now we're going to think just 3 minutes into the future, because each team will have just 3 minutes to present their ideas to the jury and 3 minutes from the jury for questions and answers. So the path ahead is treacherous, but there's treasure at the end, so it's well worth moving forward. Our jury are going to be looking at important criteria. They're going to be looking at the impact that each team's idea has. They're going to be looking at the radicality of the idea. They're going to be looking at the feasibility of the idea, and they're going to be looking at the wow effect. So today, we have a mighty crew of judges who are going to hold the power to shape your destiny. So gather round as I introduce these swashbuckling champions. Firstly, our first jury member is Pascal, who you've just met. He's a beacon of inspiration and ingenuity. Next, we have Jennifer Tachev. Jennifer is founder of Manifest Advisors and an award-winning business innovation and growth leader. Hi, Jennifer. She's launched global products and campaigns with Fortune 500 brands and has been part of some of the most influential movements in technology. Next up on the jury, we have Samira Hayat. Samira is a pioneering drone researcher with a decade of experience advocating for humanitarian drone applications. Hi, Samira. Her work has been widely cited, and she was recognized by Wired Germany as one of the top innovators in 2015. And lastly, but by no means least, we have Dennis Kerpenstein. He's an experienced founder and a dedicated product and community builder. Over the past decade, Dennis has built vibrant networks and communities in various fields, including student entrepreneurship and pet care, even veterinary services and the investment sector, particularly with business angels and venture capitalists. So, together, these four beacons of wisdom will form the formidable crew ready to evaluate the pitches with a discerning eye and an adventurous spirit. So, all that remains for me to say is yo ho ho, to the pitches we go. Let's start with team number one. Team number one, you will have 3 minutes to pitch and 3 minutes of questions. Team number one is Chill AI for cooler cities and brighter futures. Please welcome Brendan, Justin, Charlotte, Daniel, and Jason, the team from the USA. If you're ready, team number one, Chill AI, the stage is yours and your time starts now.
We are Team Chill AI, paving the way towards cooler cities for brighter futures. But first, what are urban heat islands? They're defined as metropolitan regions that experience significantly elevated temperatures as a result of urban construction and development. And right now, two main problems prevail. First, nearly 2 billion people worldwide reside in urban heat islands, and hundreds of thousands perish each year from their effects alone. But don't just take our word from it. Look towards NASA climate researcher Dr. Narosi, whom our team consulted with, and he finds that the urban heat island effect acts as a hidden killer, disproportionately affecting socioeconomically disadvantaged communities and displaced populations. This leads us to a second problem. Scientists worldwide must manually track and index the severity of urban heat islands, leaving room for error and costing countless hours that could instead be spent taking real action. But luckily, there's a solution.
Introducing Chill AI, computational heat island localization and limitation. Our technology leverages machine learning to map out regions of urban heat islands and quantitatively classify their severity. More specifically, through training YOLO V8 models, a branch of computer vision deep learning on open source GIS surface temperature data, Chill AI can comprehensively deliver metrics on the state of a given urban heat island region. This allows urban planning and development organizations, along with environmental agencies and governments, to prioritize areas of risk and provide targeted solutions to the regions that need them the most. Some of these solutions include installing green roofs and implementing heat-reflective materials, all of which Chill AI can help enable. And our vision isn't just theoretical. Over the course of this challenge, our team has built a working prototype displayed on the right, which has reached an accuracy of 97.4%. I want to emphasize that there is currently no other tool on the market that can analyze select urban areas on demand. But with Chill AI, agencies and governments finally have the capability to do just that.
In the time it took for you to listen to our pitch, an estimate of 2 individuals will have died from a heat-related cause. And over the course of this day alone, over 1,300 and 41 people will have lost their life from one. We need to remember that these aren't just statistics, they're people. So let's stop this cycle and build cooler cities towards brighter futures, starting with Chill AI.
Wow, thank you, Chill AI, for kicking off the presentations. Great pitch. And I'd like to hear from the jury now. So I think I will go first to Jennifer. Jennifer, do you have a question for this team?
So I wrote in the chat, incredible pitch. I love the storytelling. You're making this such an urgent, it is an urgent problem, and this is such a fresh way to look at it. I would love to know, you mentioned agencies and governments. What is kind of like your ideal client that you would like to sell into? Like who are the main stakeholders here, or your buyers that you're envisioning?
Hi, I could actually take that question.
Great.
So essentially, there are three main groups. It would be urban planning organizations, as in the ones that control development in cities, governments, and environmental agencies. So with these specific corporations, since we're able to localize urban heat islands and index them, we could use these insights to specifically look at areas or our clients that need the most targeting, that can have the most impactful benefit. So these three specific categories of clients would benefit the most, and we're looking to target them since they would have the most impact using our technology.
Great, thank you. And Dennis, how about you? Have you got a question for this team?
Sure. Maybe a quick one that also builds on what Jennifer just said. So you spoke about those organizations currently manually trying to gather the data, but what are they actually doing today to try and solve that problem? What is their willingness to pay for what you're offering them at the moment?
So to answer your question about how they're willing to pay, we plan to sell on a per region basis. So for example, if a contractor or organization wanted to utilize our technology and index regions of urban heat islands, say in Austria, we intend to have a set unit price per square kilometer of land. And of course, this unit price would fluctuate based on the level and scope of indexing needed.
Yeah, and adding on to that, so corporations and urban developers are actually incentivized to use our technology because there are federal grants and subsidies for becoming more sustainable, such as like receiving carbon credits and tax deductions.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you very much, Team Chill AI. I think we're about at time, so we shall say well done to you. And you can relax now. The pressure is off.
Thank you so much.
As we move to team number 2. Now, team number 2 are our Wasteland Warriors. They're making waste exciting, if you can believe that. And they're from India, from Malawi, from the Czech Republic. Please welcome Kavya, Praise, and Esther, the Wasteland Warriors. Wasteland Warriors, if you're ready, your time starts now.
Hello, hi. So yeah, let's get started. Today we are going to talk about a problem that exists everywhere, impacts everything and everyone. Waste. It is everywhere. In my house, in your house, in nearby restaurants, schools, factories. There is no such place without waste. And next, it impacts everything: soil, water, biodiversity. It releases greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, depleting our ozone layer and causing climate change. And then climate change, it impacts everyone. From vulnerable communities to common people like us, climate change impacts everyone. And waste, to a large extent, it affects climate change. So we generate over 2 billion tons of waste every year, and only 16% is being recycled. How much is 2 billion tons? If we fill this up in an average football field to up to like 3 meters, then more than 200,000 of fields can get filled up. And from 2 billion tons, only 84% ends up in landfills. We Wasteland Warriors want to reduce this number to gradually 80%, then 75%, and in the future, maybe even 60%. Our idea is based on circular economy, where we see waste as a resource. So, this is our solution WasteWise, an online aggregator to boost waste recycling. We propose a platform which brings waste utilizing businesses and waste producing industries together. There'll be alerts of what's available and needed for industrialists based on dynamic pricing. So, in simple terms, this is like the eBay for waste management. And in the next slide here, we have some examples of how businesses like utilize waste. Like industrial plastics are getting made into the finest backpacks ever and strongest bricks. And juicing facilities produce pulp as a waste, and that pulp can be used to make snacks, which are healthy. So, similarly, there are thousands of businesses which can benefit from our idea. Plus, people who see waste as a burden or a liability to dump, they now have a new scope for revenue generation. So, this is our idea, and we hope you like it. Finally, meet our team. I'm Kavya, the team captain, and we are three girls from three different continents, united by one purpose. And we got the chance to present here. We are very grateful for our opportunity. Thank you so much for listening. And please let us know if there are any questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Wasteland Warriors. I think, Samira, have you got a question that you would like to ask this team?
So first of all, I love the idea. Really nice job done. Very nice. Also, me the storytelling. So it's really cool. I'm just wondering what are your next steps, because as Pascal also mentioned before, there are certain assumptions that you have to kind of validate. What are your initial assumptions that you think are very important at the moment to validate, and how do you go about those?
So thank you so much for your encouragement and this question. So initially we have registered a website, a web page at GoDaddy, and now we are, listing the features, what kind of features we want our website to have, what are the UI features, and then we'll need funding for this to develop.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah,
Of
sure.
course.
So you mentioned you are going to target some funding. Do you have any idea what kind of funding schemes are you going to target? Because you guys are so far apart placed, yeah. So I mean, what do you kind of target as your funding agencies?
Well, we want to first spread our idea, and we hope that people will be, willing to fund our ideas. Like there are many people who help startups, right? So similar to that, we want to spread the awareness about our idea first.
And Pascal, I noticed you were talking in the chat. Have you got a question or a comment for this team as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So love marketplaces. I was part of the team which built eBay, so it's built in my DNA. I'm curious, marketplaces, one of the challenges you have in marketplaces is you need to match supply and demand. So how do you ensure, particularly in the beginning, that someone who, like, say, for example, offers cotton waste finds someone who actually wants cotton waste? So have you thought through, like, what's your initial strategy to like populate this platform so that you don't go with someone offering cotton waste, for example, and then not finding someone wanting it?
So we want to actually go to thought leaders who will grow our awareness about this project, and then we want to actually that we will recruit the right kind of people initially. Like if there is a plastic waste producer, then we will recommend our platform to someone who can use it, so that initially the transactions can happen.
Great. Thank you so much, Wasteland Warriors. That's it. Your time is up. You can now relax as we welcome our next team, team number 3, the Navigators, with AI-driven sea navigation. So please welcome the team all the way from Austria. We've got Richard, we've got Moima, we've got Paul, we've got Michael, we've got Hannah. Team Navigators, take us away. The stage is yours.
Ahoy, fellow pirates. In today's world, you often have to choose between economy and sustainability. But what if I told you that you could have both? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got a real challenge on our hands. As you can see, the global shipping industry is the 6th largest CO2 emitter worldwide. And let's be happy that it's not even a country. Furthermore, it has a larger GDP than these 5 European countries combined. Or in other words, it's a $2 trillion industry. This economy is provided by all these ships on the map. Unfortunately, their current routes don't really work well for the environment. They don't even take it into account. And if they do, they see it as a problem rather than an opportunity. But how can we change that? Well, one first step would be to use kites. These wind kites utilize the wind to reduce fuel consumption as well as CO2 emissions. Nevertheless, the current routes aren't really optimized for them. With an upfront price of $1.75 million, they may seem like quite a pricey investment, but they really aren't. So let's take a look. That's where our solution comes into play. It is our goal to optimize the current shipping routes to be not just financially viable and efficient, but also sustainable. So let's compare our routes to the conventional one. The video does not work. To the conventional one. On a cruise from Poland to the US. As you can see, our route is able to save 114 kilograms of CO2 emissions per container. Not only that, we're also able to save $600,000 of fuel costs per trip. That is incredible and translates into a return on investment for the kite after just 3 trips. Okay, but how did we actually accomplish this? So,
a step back. How did we start? We started by consulting with experts from the maritime industry, policymakers, as well as Austria's biggest mobility and transport company. The next step was to start a data collection process for the development and training of our AI agent. But let's get a bit more technical. Our solution divides the sea into multiple areas and evaluates them for their most, as you can see here, it evaluates their efficiency and the optimal route for being as sustainable as possible. But we wanted to turn this exciting concept into reality. So I'm excited to share with you our working prototype. As you can see here, you have to select the ports and the ship you want to use, and our platform calculates the most optimal route from point A to point B. But can you remember what Hannah told us about the CO2 emitters ranking?
So as you can see, with our solution in place, by 2030, the global shipping industry can move from being the 6th largest CO2 emitter to the 14th on the global rank. That's a substantial improvement and shows that we can, both economy and sustainability. We are Navigators, and with your help, we want to chart a way to a more sustainable future, ship by ship.
Thank you so much, Navigators. Now, I'm sure we've got lots of questions from the jury. And I think, Samira, you've worked an awful lot with drones. You know a lot about navigation and getting from point A to point B. Samira, do you have a question for this team?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I was wondering here, how does the time factor in? Like, if your solution is compared in terms of, the time that the ship takes to get from port A to port B, how would it fare as compared to the traditional navigation? Because I think time would be a factor that these ships or these routes have to really keep in mind.
Yeah, it's a big factor. We consulted with some experts from the industry. They told us that a margin of around 10% more is still okay. But as we utilize the wind, some of the time we are even quite a bit faster, because the shortest route isn't always the most efficient, the fastest route from A to B. So we have on our test data that we tested it on, it's around 10% slower sometimes, but sometimes it's even faster, but it's still in a doable range.
So the following question is this range, also you're not really sure exactly how much time it will take, because it depends on the weather conditions. So is this range in the time variation going to have an impact on your solution being deployed?
We are currently using forecasts, which are quite advanced at the current stage. But we update our route as we go, as the weather conditions are at some points quite unpredictable. So we change as we go of the route, but we have an estimation at the beginning of the trip, how long it will take. Did this answer your question?
Yes. I have a lot of questions, but I would like to talk to you guys later.
Yeah, you can email us or we can talk afterwards.
Sure. But really nice job. Nice job.
And speaking of lots of questions, I know Pascal has a question as well. Pascal, would you like to ask the team?
Absolutely. So first of all, kudos for going through a presentation which had its technical hiccups. As a presenter, I know this is nerve-wracking. You did amazing. Also, kudos for the hats. Quick question, 2 questions actually. I would expect companies doing this today just to save on fuel, which must be one of the more expensive parts of the shipping industry. Secondly, how do you see the current move towards hydrogen as a transportation fuel and potentially electric shipping, which is another thing which is being discussed at companies like Maersk, for example?
Yeah, our solution isn't per se restricted to any fuel that the ship uses. And the kites can be added to almost every ship that is currently in use. So our platform can be used also with other sources of shipping. And currently, there are companies that are working on something similar, but they haven't finished it yet. And also they are quite, I would say, a bit conservative, and they don't like to change the already working things. So yeah, that's a bit of an issue, I would say.
Well, thank you very much, Navigators. Well done for your presentation, and yet love the hats. Very good. And as we say goodbye to team number 3, we say hello to our 4th team. So we're halfway there. Our 4th team is Greenably, making every choice count. And this team is from Bangladesh, from the UAE and the USA. And so we say hello to Afia, Quidsia, Arav, and Isaac. Team, the stage is yours.
Unless you walk around naked, you are a part of the fashion problem. My dad worked in the textile manufacturing industry in Bangladesh, and growing up, I've often seen clothing manufacturing processes firsthand. I realized the amount of harmful chemicals, significant carbon emissions, and massive water consumption used in many of the clothes we casually buy and throw away.
The fashion industry is the 2nd largest contributing factor to climate change, emitting carbon emissions more than international flights and maritime shipping combined. On average, people worldwide own around 148 pieces of clothing. It seems like a lot, right? How could anyone need any more? But despite this, Americans are likely to buy 68 new items every single year. However, this problem also provides a unique opportunity to turn compulsive shoppers into an outlet for sustainability. With a simple barcode scan, Greenably provides easy access to transparent data about brands and garments. Through partnerships with brands and experts, we can accurately provide an analysis based on material origins, durability, and brand commitment. Finally, Greenably's marketplace allows users to buy eco-friendly clothing. But Greenably isn't just an option, it's a lifestyle. We aim to take Greenably beyond the boundaries of just being an app, to seamlessly integrate it into our daily lives throughout both physical and e-commerce stores. We envision Greenably as a credible certification that encourages brands and consumers to make greener choices. To build Greenably, we have developed the app on Swift, an iOS-based coding language, along with a barcode scanning database that is organized with SQLite, both very well-tested technology and reliable outlets of app development.
Our revenue stream is a combination of affiliate marketing, advertisements, data monetization, and sustainability plans. It isn't just a big idea. Greenably is something that can last and make a real deep impact. If you choose just one t-shirt made of organic cotton instead of a prior and sustainably produced t-shirt, you immediately save 2,457 liters of water and prevent 7 kilograms of carbon dioxide release, and Greenably is the best solution to change that. The global apparel industry is vast, and research data shows that 28% of global consumers' efforts to shop sustainable products is hindered by unclear labeling. And this is exactly the market we target to bring a change in.
There's no need for us to sit restlessly for the next 20 years banking on research that might not even happen. Instead, Greenably helps us to fight climate change now. Greenably empowers shoppers and stores alike with the feeling of accomplishment, knowing that their choices not only made a positive impact, but Mother Nature proud. We are Team Greenably, and thank you everyone for supporting our journey and making every choice count.
Thank you, Team Greenably. I think I'd like to go to a very fashionable jury member. Dennis, what have you got? Questions for the team? Thoughts for this team? I would love to hear your question.
You picked the wrong one on fashion, because I probably don't get to the average number of clothes that the team just enlisted. But thank you very much for the really, really good presentation. The one question I ask myself is, it's sort of a combined question. A, where would you get all the data from to actually feed your application on the sustainability data of the items that people are checking on? And how are you sort of then going to ensure that data is real, considering greenwashing of companies behind the fashion industry?
We get data from sustainability reports and CSR reports from brands, and we use certified data from the Global Organic Textile Standard, Fair Trade, and B Corp to validate their sustainability claims. In addition to that, we use standardized metrics from industry databases, such as the Higg Index and Sustainable Apparel Coalition. Does that answer your question?
To a certain extent.
To add with that, like, we have also been trying to partner up with sustainability experts who are working in this field and who work with the credibility of information regarding the sustainable information that brands are providing, and if those are like not greenwashing but actually real data.
And I can see in the chat both Pascal and Jennifer have been chatting about explaining a little bit more about your proposed solution. Jennifer, did you have a question or comment around that to help them clarify their solution a little?
Yes, so Pascal and I were talking a little bit about just to better understand, is it both a marketplace and then also kind of like a Yuka type app where you're able to, give it some sort of green score?
So
yeah, it's basically when you are scanning a barcode, you get to know about the sustainability metrics of that specific clothing. A lot of the market products that are used are focused mostly on the brand side. They don't specifically work with the garments, and that's what we are trying to do. We are focusing more on the material so that we can get to know if a material is sustainable, and on the other side, the brand get to know about the brand as well, because not all of the materials are the same for the clothing produced by a brand. And alongside, what we try to do is we have a marketplace, a Greenably marketplace, where people can buy the eco-friendly products that the brands list on. Like, we partner up with brands and list those products, and people can also buy or sell second-handed products, which also promote sustainability.
Amazing. I have one more question. How are you incentivizing behavioral change, like within the app? Or have you thought about kind of like, is there a gamification factor or like nudges? Like, what does that look like?
Okay, we do have can we do a slide share for this? Or, okay, I think I can sum it up. So to incentivize, like to give incentives to our customers, we do believe that getting that first initial market, like who actually get to use this product, is very important because our impact only comes when there's a mass people using this product. So what we try to do with the marketplace, we are partnering up with brands, and what we are trying to do is we can give people discounts equivalent or somewhat equal to our commission rate in the early stages, so that people can actually buy that same product with a less price. And we can partner up with brands where they provide exclusive deals for the Grenoble users, where they get to buy sustainable products but with a less price. And we want to make them be a part of the sustainable movement, where they feel like they're like making a change. They're bringing a positive impact with their simple choices. And we also do hope to, like, whenever maybe in the long term, we can bank upon the sustainability grants, which we can use more on the customer acquisition side, so we can invest that thing to get more consumers.
Thank you very much, team. Your time is up. You can relax now. As we say goodbye to one team, we welcome another one, the fifth team presenting today, Owlpocalypse. Save our oceans so that we can save ourselves. Please welcome Leander, Clarissa, Ben, Uros, and Linda, the team from Austria. Team, if you're ready, the stage is yours.
We are ready. Grain isn't always good. Just in the Gulf of Oman, toxic green algae consumed 70,000 square miles. In the Gulf of Mexico, it was 6,000. And in the Mississippi River in 2019, you couldn't go swimming. It was poisonous. All of that is happening due to algae. And this algae, when it gets to a certain location, the life there has two options. Either be evicted or die, like this fish over here. That is why they are called dead zones. And then, whilst it is a natural phenomena, recently, through climate change and agricultural overproduction, it has skyrocketed. By now, such dead zones, they occupy 1% of the planet. To put that into perspective, that is the size, more than actually speaking, of the subcontinent of India. Now, this is a ginormous problem, and we want to solve a part of it. We want to take robots, send them out to clean the algae, and then repurpose this for good. First of all, we detect where the algae is using satellite data from NASA. Then we can take our robots, who are computer vision guided to detect the algae, and AI coordinated, so they're fully autonomous. And using industry numbers, we have come to the conclusion that we should be able to get up to 300 kilograms of algae per robot per mission. Now, what can we do with this algae? Once the robot is full, he drives back to the river banks, and there we can repurpose it into fuel, fertilizer, or energy. Now, how do we know that this works? First of all, we know that AI coordination of drones works through two of our teammates having had extensive experience there and even winning a competition for it. Additionally speaking, we know that the robot works through startups like Clearbot, having pioneered a very similar thing, but for plastic. And they were able to do it successfully in Hong Kong, and also at a cheap price point of $1,000 US per unit. Now, we know that the business works as well through algae by now costing $100 million per year to the US economy, and that is direct costs. Indirect are up to $1 billion. So here the US has already showcased that it is willing to spend money to save its drinking water and to protect its tourism industry. Now, we could use this solution as well in the future to collect river plastics, and also to do small coastal pollutant collection, and potentially even treat the direct symptom of river algae, which is ocean algae, as we've seen in the Gulf of Oman. Now, why have we come together to do this? A team of 5 hardware and software engineers from the Hartel Spengergasse in Austria. Here, Linda is going to tell us more.
Growing up, I used to spend almost all of my summer holidays at the Black Sea coast in Bulgaria with my cousins. The waters were clear and the sand was golden. Now that has all changed after the algae had polluted almost all of the beaches in Bulgaria. The waters are murky and toxic even and poisonous. And that is why our team got together. We want to make a change. We want people to have the opportunity to experience the same summers that I did. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask them. We'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you so much. And I know straight away, Pascal is right in there with a question. Pascal, what would you like to ask?
First of all, amazing presentation, really well done. Very worthy problem to tackle. Super quick question. So if you point out that this is just in surface area, a massive problem in the world. I think the number you used were like 1% is like of the Earth's planet surface is dead zones. Isn't that a massively huge problem to tackle with a robotic fleet? Like how many hundreds of thousands of these robots do you need to actually tackle this problem?
I think I can answer that. So the thing is, a lot of the algae is out in the ocean and the sorts, and tackling that problem is of course going to be significantly more difficult. But the thing we're first looking to handle is basically the algae that is near coasts and the sorts, where it's ruining beaches and the sorts. That's a significantly more limited problem that we're looking to tackle at first. And of course, it's still going to be somewhere in the ballpark of like 100 or 200 robots. But of course, then tackling an area of like 3 million or so square kilometers of area, that's going to need a different solution, because sending out 100 million robots is not really economical or the ideal solution. I would take big ships or something like that. I hope that answers your question.
And Samira, I'd like to turn to you. Do you have a question for this team?
So you mentioned that it's costing 100 million, I guess, for the US economy. I'm wondering what industry or what have you kind of looked into, who are suffering this loss at the moment, what kind of industry is suffering that loss, and then knowing that, like, who would be your target, I don't know, audiences, so who are the stakeholders, who are you going to talk to kind of get, use your robots, basically, who will you sell to?
So in terms of like who's affected by it, a big factor is of course tourism. I mean, there are several like smaller industries that are doing things around the beach and the sorts, of course. But so for the cleanup of the beaches, initially what we were thinking is basically there's like the tourism. Each state usually has, like, I think they call them tourism boards or something. At least that's what we found in some countries. I'm not sure how it is in every country, where basically they have money to tackle certain problems, as well as, of course, government funding. And I mean, there is also the option of privatized funding, of course, because I mean, if you look at, for example, hotel chains, if their beaches in front of their hotels are no longer usable because of algae, then spending, say, 20,000 on some robots to do a cleanup is a drop in the bucket on the amount of revenue that they make on these massive hotels and resorts. So there's all sorts of different ways to tackle it, depending on the exact location and how, willingness of governments and sorts.
Can I ask another question quickly?
Sure.
Very quickly.
What does it mean that it's toxic? So do you know exactly the amount of algae that would lead to a certain area to be toxic, or this minimum of amount that impacts the water, so that you can motivate these hotels to kind of really clean up the areas, the beaches around their hotels?
I don't have an exact number for you right now off the top of my head. I'm sure we found it somewhere during our research, but I don't have it memorized. Maybe someone else does, but I don't think we know it off the top of our head. But we can send it to you. I'm sure we have it somewhere.
Okay, thank you very much, team. Your time is up, so now you can relax as we say goodbye to you and we say hello to the next team. So hello to Arumaju Project, Let the World Breathe. So this team we welcome, who do we welcome? We welcome Valeria, Sarah, Miriam, Sebastian, Eva, and Ariana from Peru, Egypt, and the USA. Team, the stage is yours.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Imagine waking up one day to find that your home, the place where your ancestry has lived for generations, is being destroyed, leaving your family struggling for basic necessities. This is what native communities in the Amazon rainforest face daily. Every minute, a piece of rainforest the size of 10 soccer fields disappears, taking with it homes, cultures, and nation livelihoods, displacing thousands of tribes that have protected this land for centuries. As their lands disappear, so do the habitats of millions of animals, pushing countless species to the brink of extinction. This destruction threatens not only our way of life, but also one of the main sources of oxygen and biodiversity in the world. Tired of the indifference that surrounds the situation, our team combined perspectives from different backgrounds to create a solution for protecting the rainforest. Our mission is clear: to safeguard the world's lungs and empower the silenced voices of its population.
Our online platform, the Amari Mayu project, aims to revolutionize environmental conservation, featuring a three-part approach: exploration, education, and action. With multilingual content and global partnership, users worldwide can ensure change. Our Let's Discover software uses cutting-edge satellite imagery and predictive algorithms to illustrate the rainforest's future based on current trends and how this will affect the Earth's welfare. Our Let's Learn section offers dynamic education to highlight the characteristics and menaces that are present in the Amazon today, making learning impactful and widely accessible. The Let's Act section facilitates our now informed users to take action. We support local communities in their efforts to protect their homes. Users can participate in campaigns and contribute to conservation projects, turning awareness into tangible results.
Now, you may think that mixing satellite images and AI with education and activism is an unconventional approach. It has never been done before. However, that's exactly what makes us unique. Initiatives focusing solely on technical aspects overlook local needs, leading to ineffective solutions. Projects by locals are efficient but vulnerable and overlooked. We not only work against climate change, but also build a global community centered around collaboration and equality. We meld powerful tools and aim to bridge the gap between regional communities and international volunteers.
In Amari Mayu, we're not just dreaming of a greener future, we're making it a reality. Let the world breathe, not only free of pollution, but also of injustice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, team. And I love your energy and enthusiasm for this project. Let's go straight to the jury. And I think we will start with Jennifer. Jennifer, have you got a question for this team?
Well, first I had written, your passion is so inspiring. I just was like, yes. And as Pascal pointed out, the capybaras, which Eva actually has in her back. So nice work. I would say, so just to understand, it's both an activism and learning platform. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So who do you envision, or maybe what geographies are you really focusing on for this? Like if you're thinking in the global stage, what would be the first kind of go to market, like your first rollout?
Well, this software is developed not only for the communities, because we want to connect them with the international organizations and international opportunities that they could access if they had this opportunity or this bridge to connect them with. We are pointing out that our main public, because our educational models are to connect with the Amazon, right? To connect with the lives of their person, of the people, of the animals. Okay, we are pointing out to high schoolers who are interested in volunteering. Not only them, also people in general who are interested in volunteering from any part of the world to contribute to their causes.
Okay. And Dennis, do we have a question from you?
Sure. I mean, we all sort of know the root cause of the deforestation are large corporations who want to use the raw materials that they find there. How are you going to sort of stop that from happening with your mission? How is your mission going to actually keep those large corporations from doing what they're currently doing?
Great. The thing is that by making this collaboration, global collaboration, we are going to make pressure into these corporations to stop doing it. We are going to help the activists from these native communities to raise their voices and, for example, make the governments push them to make more established laws to protect their houses, because I think that through this collaboration, we are going to make a big change because we just need to make this together. Thank you.
If I could add something as well, we're also planning on implementing carbon credit system and paid ecosystem services. So with these, especially with our own software, which uses AI algorithms to present the data to our users, we'll be able to present a reliable and hopefully, accurate carbon credit system so people can invest in, similar to other carbon credit systems, invest in a blockchain investment type technology, and they can see their real world effect through our website. So they can see just about like how much CO2 they might be sequestering just by funding our project. They can see all of the paid ecosystem services. So maybe people are restoring trees, they're planting more trees, things like that.
Cool. Thank you very much.
I see Sebastian has his virtual hand raised with his virtual capybara. Sebastian, did you have something you'd like to add?
I was trying to say, I'm sorry, my internet connection is a little bit low. That here in Peru, there are lots of projects of law that, like, as the people here in the capital and in the rest of the country doesn't really know that this is a problem, because we already know that these things happen in the Amazon, and I think that also in other countries. But the problem is that people doesn't know that it's a real problem because they can feel it, they can watch it, and the government used to make these law projects to protect people that has their companies of deforestation without any consequences. And I think that the main objective of our project, of our initiative, is to with these modules of education and with this expectation of the machine learning AI, and try to connect the people with the actual problem and raise their voices to these kind of things that, even if it can be an immediate solution for the economic problems of certain countries, like have in a long term have a long term problem. So that was like make this through this solution, make this a real problem, and try to connect to the people that, even if they're in the same country or in the same situation, doesn't fully know what's the implication of this.
Thank you very much, Sebastian, and thank you to the team. That's it. Your time is up. You can relax now as we say hello to Team 7, the last but by no means least team. This is Team Floria, a smart flower for bee pollination. So we welcome Elanu and Annie and Miriam and Katrina from Turkey, Greece, the UAE, and Ukraine. Team, the stage is yours.
food is a celebration of life, not only because it literally aids in our survival, but also because to many it is joy and culture. That is why we care about what we choose to eat: vibrant fruits, vegetables, meats. But what if all we were left with was this? If bees keep declining, rice and grains will be all our diet consists of, because 85% of our food supply depends on the 30-second interaction between a plant and a bee. Bees depend on the familiar scents of specific flowers to guide them to the nectar they need to survive. And as a way of saying thank you, bees carry the plant's pollen for seed dispersal, to increase the plant's population and to provide us with food. But as temperatures rise, these climate-stressed plants produce weakened scents and low-quality nectar. This leads to a vicious cycle where bees find fewer plants to pollinate and plants suffer even further. This is already happening in sub-Saharan Africa, where the absence of bees has led to a 59% reduction in crop yields. Now, if this persists, food will become so inaccessible that eating something like an apple will become a luxury. We have resorted to hand-picking pollen from one plant to another, even spraying each individual plants with bee attractant sprays. Now, these approaches are labor-intensive, costly, and not at all scalable. This is why with our solution, we are targeting the problem directly. By synthetically mimicking the bee attractant scents and diffusing them through flower fields, we ensure that bees are guided back to nectar hotspots. As soon as the bee pollinates the plant secretes JA hormones, which stimulates nectar development. And as pollination increases, so does enzyme activity, adjusting the amino acid and sugar ratio to improve the quality of nectar and its nutritional values. We are now building out our prototype, starting with a humidifier-like structure. We're using 3D printing, and we have started building our circuits. This is how the first version of our prototype looks like. Amina is one of the many farmers that wants to implement this in their farm. And we will start our pilot in Turkey, working with strawberry farmers like Amina. We will then expand to Indonesia for Robusta coffee production and to the US to work with cotton farmers. This will unlock an opportunity of almost $20 billion. My team and I are dedicated to bringing this to life to preserve our most valuable resource, our food. So join us in our mission to re-enliven the bees and save our food supply. Thank you.
Thank you so much, team. So let's go to questions from the jury. And I see Samara has her hand straight up. Let's hear your question.
Hi, I'm really so touched by all the presentation. Really great job here as well. I'm just wondering, you mentioned that the current solutions are basically, spraying kind of to bring this the quality of scent up. When you have a solution like a humidifier, you still have to plug in some kind of this scent part, every now and then. How do you compare it to the solution that exists currently? How is the effort different from that?
So the farmers wouldn't need to do that as usually as they would need to go into the fields and spray the individual flowers. And they would also not need to stand out in the sun and spend all of that time going individually and spraying over each flower, because our solution would be automated to spray in specific time spans. So the farmers themselves, it would not be as labor intensive, because the only thing that they would need to do is just change the vial once it's sent.
Okay, and Dennis, do you have a question for the team?
Maybe two questions. One goes sort of building on Samira. Does the solution that you use, so as in like the scent that you use, have an implication on other players within the environment? So other animals, other insects, are they affected by it negatively or positively? And what is sort of your your most critical assumption to go the next step?
I can take on the first one. So our design principle was actually mimicking the flowers. These flowers, like crops, they were once releasing the scents that attracted bees. And we're just trying to mimic that scent so that we can attract the bees as much as we used to do. And this way, actually, like we're not trying to change the cycle or the relationship between other animals and other plants. We're just trying to realign it.
Also, our next steps would be to sort of understand how this affects pest insects, and we don't predict it will, because like Ilana said, we're mimicking the exact molecular structure of the floral scent profile that already exists. So we're just strengthening that. And another step would be to understand the longevity of the scent. So we are using the same mechanism as commercial scent diffusers. So those cover a large area, not like regular humidifiers that you'd find in homes. So we would want to really collect data on how that would work in farms.
Can I have one super quick follow-up?
Of course.
So the other question I asked myself, you spoke about what is already kind of lost, sub-Saharan Africa, and what we still have. Could your solution have a positive impact on what is already lost and sort of repopulate areas?
Yes, because it's a cycle. So once we attract even one more bee, that means that flower will produce more nectar. And once that flower produces more nectar, that means bees will find more food, more nutrition, which will increase the population of bees. Although testing it and making sure that this is true is an important step, but in theory, this is a cycle, and this has been proven by studies that we've looked into.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much, team. So it's time is up for the teams. Well done to everybody. Now it gets to the exciting part where we say goodbye to our jurors. They are going to disappear. We will see them in about 10 minutes or so as they discuss and make their decisions. So see you later, jury. Thank you, all the teams. So many great ideas. I can see all of your faces popping up on the screen. What diverse ideas, what creative ideas, what unusual ideas. I'm glad that I'm not in the jury having to decide. Now, one person I'm excited to join me today is one of the mentors. Gabriela Opaz was a mentor working behind the scenes with all of our pirates on their pitch training from Four Voices. She's an American based in Portugal, and Gabriela, hi, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about what the mentorship program's been like? What's your experience been working with, well, so many different and unusual ideas from great young people?
You know, I have to say that I've been in programs like this for many, many years, and it never, ever stops being an incredible experience for me, because oftentimes I think we look at youth as an extra rather than a source and a font of knowledge and a source of innovation and creativity. And this experience with Moonshot Pirates was no less incredible. These 7 teams that we had here are just a small portion of a huge group of teams that have presented ideas that were well beyond my knowledge that were even a problem. And for them to bring it to us and to present them, as you saw today among many of the teams, with such passion, such determination, and an ability to communicate them in a very concise and clear way is what we hope all of us can do, adults included. So for myself, it was an honor and an incredible joy to be with these kids. And they never stopped to, as I said, to amaze me. As Marco said earlier, for Four Voices, it's equally our job to help empower these kids to speak up and communicate and share these ideas in a world where they feel quite often as if their voice is sequestered and pushed down and diluted and not able to be given a safe and powerful platform to speak up. And Moonshot Pirates has provided one more platform that is so incredibly needed. So it's fantastic.
And Gabriella, tell me what has impressed you the most about mentoring these pirates? Did they have any hidden skills that perhaps you weren't expecting, or any unusual things that bubbled up from the surface? What was it that left an impression on you?
I think it's their it's a determination, I have to say, because as we had spoken about earlier, we're providing them a future that is rather sketchy, if I may be honest. There, as we had mentioned, various problems that are hitting them every day and has hit them since COVID and previously. And without a doubt, rather than sitting idle and being a victim to it, these kids are finding solutions and finding the energy and the desire to tackle what seems impossible, what seems as if something that's well beyond their skill set. And they're doing it in a way that's very methodical, that's very thoughtful, that's very compassionate. And not only that, they're using the resources of not only the people here with us today, but they're going well beyond themselves to see that it's a collaboration among organizations that already exist. So it's a beautiful example of seeing that there's always a possibility. There's always one more step forward to innovate, to ideate, and to create what seems well beyond their means, but to actually do so in a way that's very collaborative and inclusive. And yeah, it's absolutely inspirational.
That's wonderful. Now, I know that there's been lots and lots of mentors working behind the scenes on this program. What would you say to the people that are watching online that want to get involved, that want to mentor young people to come up with brilliant ideas like this? What would you say to them to encourage them to get involved? And what do you think you as an individual will take from this mentoring process?
You asked my favorite question in the whole wide world. Thank you so much. Honestly, to be an amazing listener. I can't think of any skill set that is more important today than to sit with any youth in the planet and just ask a question and just listen without an opinion, without providing any other solution. Just listen, because we all need the space and the time of a mentor, of someone beyond us, to just hear us out. And I think oftentimes, ourselves included, feel as if the person in front of us is just ready to offer an incredible solution, experience, an idea, and we want to come up with the idea ourselves. We want to find that next step ourselves, and we just need someone to offer an open heart and an open space to hear us. So the number one skill I would offer is just to actively listen with all of our hearts, without judgment or criticism or opinions, just to be there. And in terms of getting involved, I always suggest to act locally. We all have amazing kids around us every single day, whether that's our own kids or the schools and communities right around us. And I would highly encourage all of us to find ways locally. You can do it online as well, but to find a way that inspires you. Maybe you're really into fishing. If fishing is your gig, then go to a fishing camp or a local fishing shop and find the kids there that are passionate about it. Because kids, just like adults, respond to passion. And if you are really passionate about something in particular and you've done a lot of research on it and you'd love to share it, then go seek out those kids who are equally interested and are equally wanting your knowledge and your expertise. But it doesn't have to be big. It can be small. It can be once a week. It can be once a month. It doesn't really matter. It's just adding that one step forward to provide yourself as a safe space to share. And in terms of what you get back, oh my God, what don't you get back? I mean, they're my teachers. These kids that we've had the privilege to be with are absolutely amazing. And you are my teacher, 100%, honestly. Every time we offered a suggestion, they said, okay, great. How do I do that? What can we do differently? What can we do next? It was their ability to, the passionate pitch. Oh my God, it was so amazing. Creating that energy, tapping into their own desires and emotions and their own why inspires me to sit down and say, okay, what can I do differently? What can I do better? How can I innovate and create just as they are? Because as we get older, we all get a little bit more tunnel visioned, yeah, unfortunately. And youth help us open up this mindset and say, wait a second, I used to see things that way. Why don't I do that now? And they do that for me every single day. It's why I absolutely adore working with them. And thank you, all of you teams, because you did an absolutely brilliant job. Really, really, really. We couldn't be more proud of you. So well
They
done.
certainly did. And Gabriella, okay. Gabriella, thank you so much for your contribution, and
welcome.
thank you to all of the mentors for working so hard. And we have another person who I'm very excited to see on the screen, which is, of course, Nikki Skeen. Nikki, lovely to see you as always. Now, this prize, this Silicon Valley trip, this is no joke, is it? This is a serious prize. Can you tell us what our winners can expect today?
Oh yeah, this is absolutely a serious prize. People who run multi-million-dollar companies undergo this program to change future strategic directions of their organization from the conversations, from the insights. Of course, the tour is fully customized to the participants, which is part of the DNA of this program, which means that before we meet in San Francisco, we'll all assemble on a Zoom call and talk a bit about the things that are particularly interesting. Of course, the direction of the challenge and the direction of the companies that you've been developing. Oh yes, I'm treating you like entrepreneurs with your companies. I don't treat you like participants of a challenge. That's what I've been doing in the past, and it works really well. And I think it makes most sense. You're not some young idealistic visionaries. You're entrepreneurs. You have a company, and with this company, we go through this program. So I'm treating you like this, and it's totally yours what to do with this. We have 4 to 5 meetings every day. Every meeting is a 1-hour combination of talk and interaction. It's people who work at Stanford, Singularity, Meta, Apple, Google, Tesla, whatever makes sense to meet. And we talk about artificial intelligence because this is the time where everything is changing with the foundation of the programs, the training programs that are running on AI at the moment. So a strong focus on the conversations at the moment in Silicon Valley is artificial intelligence. 80% of the world's venture capital is invested in Silicon Valley at the moment on AI. So we drive from one meeting to another. We meet the people at their offices, most of the time at their offices. Quick introduction, person talks about their visions, ideas. You would talk about your companies. And then it might be we move to the next, or it might be that someone says, I want to know more about this, or I want to connect you with someone, which is very typical in San Francisco. People say, hey, there are 4 people you should have a conversation with to come to a next level, because the people we meet also treat you like entrepreneurs. No one is coming like, oh, what a cute little project you've done. How creative. They say, let's see you like you're the founders of a company, and let's see how we get this to the next level. And you might actually want to do this. You might be going out of this week and said, hey, we're really onto something. Or you might realize that you're onto something, but maybe you just have to move a little to the right and go in this direction, because with that pivot, it comes to something really meaningful. And that's what this week is about. It's not a zoo visit to the companies that everyone wants to be in for the Instagram feed. Who have been at Facebook. Here's the Facebook logo behind me. Yeah. It's not that. It's really a program that's fully designed for you. You'll be treated like adult entrepreneurs. It might be challenged and intense, but even if at the end of the week your brain will explode, you will love it.
And I know that it is a brain exploding tour that you're taking the winners on. But tell me, there's something special, isn't there, about the Silicon Valley mindset? There's that certain different way of thinking. And can you share with us a little bit more about the Silicon Valley mindset and how that can be useful to such young teams like we see here at Moonshot Pirates?
I think the most accurate description of Silicon Valley that I've heard is Silicon Valley is 120 square kilometers surrounded by reality. There are certain aspects, certain elements, certain way of running a company and treating people that I haven't seen anywhere else in the world, and I travel a lot. And that's basically built on the foundation of people who come to Silicon Valley to make a bet, to place a bet on the future. And placing a bet on the future doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make money tomorrow, but it has to mean that you're working on something that is really relevant tomorrow. And if everyone is placing bets on the future, is a different mindset in terms of competition, for example. Even if someone who's working in the same space as you would connect you with someone else to have that conversation on a different level. I always bring this comparison coming from Austria. When I share an idea with someone, that person will give me 5 reasons why I will race against the wall. And there might be so good reasons that I won't even start. In San Francisco, people will give you 5 people you should have a conversation with to come to the next level, as I said before, on that idea. This culture of playing forward, you will experience also.
That's wonderful. And I know that the winners are going to be in for a fantastic time. Nikki, thank you so much for offering such an incredible once-in-a-lifetime prize for these young innovators, these young pirates. Thank you, Nikki, and we'll see you very soon.
See you very soon in San Francisco.
And now there's somebody else that I'd like to hear from. He's the chief navigator for the Moonshot Pirates. It's Sean King. Sean, hello, hello. Nice to see you up on my screen, or at least I think I see you on my screen. Sean, wonderful. There you are. Now you've got a new program coming up called Launchpad, which I hear is something really special for the Moonshot Pirates. Can you share us a little bit about what you're up to? Because I heard about this in the practice. This sounds exciting.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. And good day, everyone. I see the judges are back in the room, I think. So I'm going to try and keep this short because I don't think anybody else is going to be listening to me. But yeah, so many of you don't know me. I'm a relatively new addition to the team. I started working with Moonshot Pirates a few years ago. And I'm one of those fortunate entrepreneurs, Adam. And with about 30 years of experience in building several startups, I've been really fortunate, but I've also been part of the generation that has created a number of challenges for the next generation. And so it's time to give back. And we've been working, Marco, myself, Finette, and the team at Moonshot Pirates, we've been working on trying to scale what is already working so well at Moonshot Pirates, and really trying to empower young change makers to transform their bold ideas into impactful solutions. And as we've seen tonight or today, whatever time it is where you are, but they're already demonstrating they're completely able to build meaningful solutions. And we want to be able to back that as best as possible, equip young people with the skills, with the community, the resources necessary to take that idea all the way to the market. And we know today that education systems are struggling to keep up with the changing world. We know 85% of young people report feeling unprepared to tackle real world challenges. We also know that global youth unemployment rate is so high, more than double the overall unemployment rate. I think it's sitting at about 14% now this year. And that, along with the unprecedented challenges that our planet is facing, we really need to equip as many young entrepreneurs to make a difference. And I suppose continuing, Adam, with your map analogy, we're deciding to test the boundaries of what we think the opportunity map looks like for young entrepreneurs. And so we're testing our assumptions with what we've learned over 5 years of working with 12,000 pirates, over 15,000 mentoring hours with the incredible mentors that you've heard from, Gabriela being one of them. And to Pascal's, I actually remember this following a meeting we had with him, is really his emphasis on getting your stuff done, right? And so it's not perfect, but we're looking for 150 pirates to join us in our pilot program, which is really designed to take the entrepreneurial spirit and passion for sustainability to a next level. So I suppose the best way to explain it was, if you could imagine a space where your dreams of making a difference are nurtured, guided by experts and peers who share your vision, all the way through from ideation to the successful launch of your solution. And imagine having all the tools and resources at your fingertips to bring your ideas to life. And that's what Launchpad offers. And our vision is to build the world's largest accelerator of youth-driven impact initiatives. I know, Silicon Valley is desperately exciting, but many people, certainly from down south here in South Africa, battle with crossing the Atlantic to get involved with that. And so we're a global movement, we're a global organization, and we want to be able to build a global accelerator of these impact-driven initiatives. So really what we're doing, just to summarize it, is in this pilot and Launchpad moving forward, is we're automating what is working well in Moonshot Pirates, and then scaling that. And so it's really a transformative virtual experience. The first pilot will run for 6 months. The youngsters will literally be able to take their idea, whether they have an idea or not, but if they're keen on building something that is impactful and sustainable, we will walk with them through a 6-month period and accelerate that idea, incubate that idea into a fully fledged solution. And I suppose one of the exciting things, just to end with, is following the 6-month pilot program, we will be reaching out to our community to help us move into phase 2, which is automating the learnings into an online tool, which will be heavily AI driven for obvious reasons. And we'll be engaging our Moonshot Pirates community in this. So I suppose, why join Launchpad? It's because the world needs your ideas, as we've seen tonight.
It certainly does.
Yeah,
and
so there we go.
And Sean,
Adam.
I have to ask you, you said you're looking for about 150 young pirates to take place in the first phase, and I imagine many of them watching online live now. Where can they go if they want to find more information, if they want to get on the waiting list or get their front row seat to Launchpad?
Yeah, perfect, Adam. So there's already about 1,500 on the wait list, which is fantastic. But they can go onto the Moonshot Pirates website, and they'll find all the details to get on there. We're initially running this at a cost, just to tell you, of $25 per month. So it'll be, and we want a 6-month commitment, just because the first team really needs to help us shape and guide the next phase of the project.
That sounds fantastic. And I look forward to checking in with you and the new pirates going through this program to see just how much it scales and just how successful it can be in a space of 6 months. I think it's an incredible opportunity. So thank you so much, Sean, for sharing that with us. Wonderful.
Cool.
Thank you, Sean. So now I know that the jury are back. I think they've made their decisions. And as we tally the final results, I think it's only fair that we say a huge thank you to all of the mentors, all of the crew at Moonshot Pirates, and of course, all of the partners. We have to give a huge thanks to Mega Education Foundation. They've been fostering education innovation in Austria with that big focus on entrepreneurship education. They are a funding partner of the Moonshot Pirates, so thank you so much to them. Also, we have to say a huge thank you to Nikki and the Silicon Valley Inspiration Tours. Nikki has been so busy providing workshops and mentoring sessions and hosting the winners in Silicon Valley. We also have to say a huge thank you to everyone at Four Voices who've been providing students and young entrepreneurs with the skills to confidently speak up and present on stage. And boy, did you speak confidently in your presentations today. And we also have wait, where's my notes? The Austrian the startup community in Austria who have a strong focus on entrepreneurship, education, and community, and they're the community partners of the Moonshot Pirates. So thank you for them as well. Now, Marco, I think you've got something special for me because Marco told me that this year, for the first time, there was some community quests going on in the background because everyone knows good pirates don't operate alone. There were multiple quests happening during this year's challenge, so pirates had to help each other. And at the end, all of the pirates were asked to vote for the person that helped you the most. So, Marco, can you tell us a little bit more about this quest and what's in it for the most helpful person?
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Great to be back. So yeah, you already gave it away. We had so-called community quests this year, so we introduced a completely new feature or element to the Shape the Future challenge. The reason for it being that for us, and Sean already mentioned it, the Shape the Future challenge, Shape the Future challenge is just a start. This is where you develop ideas. This is where you start brainstorming, creating new things. But we really want young people to go further and build something meaningful, impactful. The thing is that building something on that scale, at that scale, is not easy. So you can't do it alone. And we said we are a community, we are a movement of young change makers, movement of pirates. That's why we said, even though the Shape the Future Challenge is a competition, we want to add this element of community, this element of togetherness. So that's why we came up with the community quest. And well, that means throughout these 4 weeks where young people were working on their ideas, we shared a couple of micro tasks with them simply to inspire helping each other. They shared their knowledge, they offered support to other teams. They simply did things that go way beyond what they did within their own teams. And the response was amazing. There was constantly things popping up, and yeah, it was just beautiful to see. And as you've mentioned now already, in the end, we let the community decide who was the most, let's call it the most helpful person within this community quest, so within this entire challenge. So every team member, every participant was able to give a vote for one person, which is not yourself, obviously, and not part of your team. And the one person with the most votes will now be invited to join us on the trip to Silicon Valley. So
nice.
And yeah, it's really helping others should be also appreciated, and that's why we did that.
So, Marco, would you like to tell us who is the most voted for, most helpful pirate on the high seas who will be the first one setting sail to Silicon Valley?
I don't know, should I?
I think you should. I think it's time.
Well, the winner, I have to say, it was super close. It was a super close vote. And the winner is coming from the African continent. To be more specific, from Nigeria, and his name is Conqueror Kuseju.
Huge round of applause to Conqueror. Well done. Hey, Conqueror, nice to see you. Congratulations. How do you
Thank you.
feel?
Well, I feel really amazing. I mean, I really thank God because no one but God deserves all the glory. I thank the Moonshot Pirates team for such a wonderful platform for us to learn, develop our potentials, and connect with young, amazing minds all over the world. So I'm really honored to be the MVP for the community quest this year. So I must say throughout this competition, while we all strived towards winning, my focus remained on building value and meaningful relationships with my peers because I believe that the essence of entrepreneurship lies in helping others succeed. So every time I supported my peers, every time I shared knowledge or uplifted my peers, I was creating a thriving environment where innovation and success is inevitable. So in this journey, I always remind myself that the true measure of success is not just winning, but it's the positive impact we make on those around us. So when we reflect the light inside of us, we transform our environment into the better persons we want to see. So as entrepreneurs, our greatest achievements come from our ability to inspire, to support, and grow together. So let's keep shining by helping each other. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm really proud of being a part.
what a brilliant message. Thank you so much. Huge congratulations. I can see hundreds of messages in the chat. I think everybody is very excited for you. But now I would like to bring up the jury. Jury members, Pascal, Samira, Dennis, and Jennifer. How was it back there going through so many diverse projects? It must have been a bit of a challenge. Pascal, can I ask you, how was it? How was the discussion being on the jury?
It was terrible. It's the worst thing ever. It's like we have everybody's a winner, right? Like we have incredible projects. They're all super diverse. They have all like really tackling really hard problems, presented super well. So it is incredibly hard to figure out, who shines through that pile of awesomeness, and who's just a smidge little bit more awesome than the others.
And Dennis, I'd like to turn to you. And Dennis, I'd love to know what your experience was like, and especially thinking about we've seen so many really good projects. Have you got any words of wisdom for all of the teams as a group?
Oh, wow, words of wisdom is a tough one. But to be honest, I think I would probably take a quote from Pascal's keynote without saying the S word. The word of wisdom is just get your stuff done, build it, get out there. Don't be afraid to share whatever you're trying to do. You have a unique set of knowledge that you acquired over the last couple of weeks on the market that you're working in. So don't be afraid of anybody trying to steal your idea or that they might be better than you. Get out there, build it, and really have the impact that you can have with your idea by bringing it to the market.
Oh, thank you so much, Dennis. And Samira, I'd love to hear from you. Do you have any thoughts for all of the teams as a whole? Any congratulatory words for them?
I am super impressed. First of all, super good job. I am really very positive about the future now. So, I mean, even if I would have looked to the past, I think the future is exponentially brighter. So what I would like to just add up to what Dennis had said, just keep pushing, and you have great ideas. You have proven to yourself that you can come up with great ideas and you can kind of grow on those ideas. Whatever skills you have acquired during this, this competition, grow on them, because you have a very good starting point now, and you can always make it better and better, and just never be afraid. Just step out with your ideas into the world. And I think if you don't have fear, you can achieve anything. So just don't let fear be kind of stopping you. Another thing, keep in mind the high impact. When you have the purpose of your work, whatever it is the impact. I think nothing can disappoint you. So just look to the impact and move forward.
Great advice. And Jennifer, I'm going to come to you because I'd first like to hear a little bit about, well, no, I'm not going to ask questions about what it's like to be on the jury. I think I'm just going to ask the most important question, Jennifer. Would you be ready to share with us who the winner is.
Yes. Well, first and foremost, I'm trying to collect myself from Conqueror. I was, welling up just listening to you. And then my cheeks are hurting from smiling so much, just listening to all of you. As everyone has said, I love that it's named Moonshot Pirates because truly, I mean, the world needs you all, literally, to keep showing up, to keep doing what you're doing. We need new models of leadership. So I'm just so grateful, and we're also grateful to hear your incredible ideas. So some of the key factors that we were looking at in terms of our judging criteria: impact, radicality. I get that, Pascal? Feasibility, your wow effect, and what that looks like is, of course, putting a smile on someone's face. How dynamic is it? So the things, like digging a little deeper on that, we were looking at, okay, of these clear problem sets, is there what does the storytelling look like? What does the presentation look like? Again, the wow factor. Also, if there was a working prototype that was really helping us to visualize, outside of, what this could be. Yes. Do we need a drum roll? I mean,
I think so.
and then of course, a clear path to success. Like, what does that look like if you're really thinking about, taking something as an idea and giving it some legs? So maybe we can do this, some jazz hands, some sparkle fingers.
Jazz hand drum roll.
That Conqueror, let's keep shining, helping each other, shine hands. So the clear winner for all of us goes to the bees. So Floria, we were just taken aback, such amazing work. And I want a smart flower. Like, can we please all have smart flowers? Congratulations, an incredible job.
Wow, well done. Congratulations to the team. Would you like to share? How are you feeling? This is so exciting. Well done. Unmute all of your microphones and just scream in. It's
I mean, for us, we've been excited because we're gonna get to meet each other in person, which is something that we haven't done.
We've known each other for almost 2 years and we haven't met in person yet.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I can tell you, to make a bee joke, the atmosphere is absolutely buzzing. What are your reflections on working together over this past period of time?
I mean, the faces that you see on screen right now, they're like one of the smartest people I've met. I love them all. Like Mariam said, we've known each other for 2 years now, and although we never met in real life, I feel like they're so close that it's impossible that we haven't met in another life, I guess. So I'm so happy that we'll get to spend some time together, and I know that we'll make the best of our time in Silicon Valley. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, generally, I think we've stressed this point, but I don't think we can stress this enough, the importance of the team. Like, I think we've all had, our areas while working together simultaneously. It was really an amazing journey. Like, we trusted each other, and that really showed in the process, and that's why we were able to come up with everything that we did. And for us, it was really an amazing journey, from finding out the problem to doing our deliverables to doing the prototype. Like, really was just amazing. A few days ago, we were really talking about how proud we were of each other and how, we wanted to continue working on such amazing things no matter what the outcome is. So it's just an added bonus for us that we're going to have this amazing experience, explore Silicon Valley, like travel together. I think, wow, really so overwhelmed right now. So thankful for the Moonshot Pirate community as well. It was really amazing, and we all enjoyed it so much. We had so much fun.
Oh, wonderful. Well done. You did very well. And so did all of the teams. Oh my goodness, I'm cracking up here. All of the teams worked so fantastically hard. So well done to the winners, but well done to everybody else here presenting as well, because it's a brilliant learning experience, and who knows where your moonshots will end up in the future. So congratulations to each and every one of you. And all that remains for me to say is a huge round of applause, of course, to all of you. Let's have a huge virtual round of applause. I've enjoyed every second of my time here with you. And to leave you this evening or this morning or wherever it is in the world, I'd just like to remind you that as the sun sets on this grand gathering, we've got to remember that our journey doesn't end here. Never give up, for the seas are as vast and as full of hidden treasures just awaiting to be discovered. So keep your eyes sharp and keep your spirits high, because adventure lies in every horizon. So go forth and make your mark on the world with every deed and every endeavor, just as a true pirate would. Until we meet again, sail bravely and let the winds of fortune forever be on your side. Good night.